Hello friends and welcome. Okay, so back in March we bought the 1961 Gravelys Model L, and that came with two brush hogs. It came with a sickle, and it came with a dog eater, snow blower. When we first got it, it ran, and it was running really bad. So we discovered it had a blown head gasket. So we replaced the head gasket on it, and what else did we do to that? I think that was about it. And then it smoothed out, ran good. We even tested it once with the brush hog on it. We cut some grass with it. And I noticed, well, after we did the head gasket and we knew it ran good, I changed the oil in the filter. Sometimes changing the oil filter could be messy, but I tried to be as clean as possible about it. And then I noticed that it was leaking oil every time I parked it inside here. It was leaking oil, and the tractor was so sludged up with oil. It looked like it had an oil leak at one time, and it just got really sludgy, and we degreased it. So after I got done degreasing it, I dried it real good. I had it up on jack stands, and we let it sit overnight, and I didn't see any oil leaks. Then I parked it back in here, and it looked like it was leaking oil. So this morning, well, not this morning, yesterday when we were doing the 65 Gravelys, when we were doing the carburetor on it and the linkage and all that stuff for the governor, I switched the tractors around and I parked it right where I'm sitting here. Not one drop of oil that I saw this morning. So I jacked the tractor up outside, took a look under there, no oil. You know, it's like dry. Perfectly dry. So when I bought the tractor, though, I just wanted to tell you I paid $400 for it. I don't remember if the guy was asking $500, but I just gladly paid him the $400 for it because it ran bad, like I said, and we fixed that and everything. So this year, what I want to do with it, since we only tested it once, I want to set it up for snow plowing this year. I don't know if anybody else has been following the forecast, but I don't know. I seem to hear this every year that we're going to have a bad winter. Like 2010 into 2011, we got a lot of snow. I remember I was supposed to go to Florida for 3 weeks after the end of the winter. I ended up staying for like 3 months. It was a really good year, and I'm hearing that we're supposed to get the same thing with several Alberta clippers, and we'll see what happens with that. I listen to a good guy, and he's right mostly all the time. You know, the forecast is just a prediction, but his name is Ryan Hall, and he has a pretty good setup as far as following the weather. So I don't know. I was thinking, I said it in previous videos, that I was just going to fix one tractor up with a snowplow on it, and that's it. Because we haven't been getting much snow. We get 3 inches here and there, 4 inches. And the thing about the snow we were getting, it was really wet snow and heavy. But I don't know, we'll see what happens this year. So I plan on getting 2 tractors. I'll get 2 tractors as usual ready. The last few years we've been using a 1973 L8. No, this 1973 C8. And then I have the 1967 L8 that I bought to replace the 61L that I had. I had that tractor for like 35 years and plowed with it a lot and everything. And I sold that one, and then I got the 67 and the 69, which we sold from the same person I got it from. And that was the guy that had the 61 Postal, United States Postal Service Gravely. I bought that from him. And then he had the other two Gravelys. And he was moving away. And I told him I'd think about it. Then he told me to just come and get them. They sat outside. They were a wreck. And I fixed them all up. And like I said, we sold the 69, but I kept the 67 as a main snowplow tractor. And then we came along picking up the 73 Gravely, which we did a lot of work to that. And I use that as the backup. But I use them both here, you know, just to make videos. I don't subcontract anymore because of my eyes. I can't see. My trailer's shot. It's just, for the little bit of snow that we were getting, I just said it's not worth it, and we didn't do it. I don't do it anymore. I just plow here just to make videos. So I know the 67 has chains on the inboard wheels, and I know that the starter on that, it needs brushes in the starter. I did take the starter apart and cleaned it out, and it was a little bit better, but I know the brushes are shot on that. So I'm deciding whether to pull that tractor out today. And I think I do have the starter that's in a lot better shape than that. When I ordered parts from Richards for one of the Gravelys, I forgot to order the brushes for the starter. So we can't fix the starter. I'm up in the air right now because today's video was supposed to be about seeing where the oil leak was and fixing the oil leak on the 61. But it's dry. So what we'll do is we'll take a walk outside. I just jacked up the back of the tractor so I could just crawl under there, and I didn't see any oil. And I'll just show you that it seems to be pretty dry. So we'll just keep an eye on that for now. So whatever we are going to be doing next is up in the air right now, because I'm going to have to pull everything out of here to get to the 67 L8. And I guess I'll be back to you I'll be back to you soon, and we'll take a look under the tractor, and I'll show you that nothing's leaking right now. I don't know, maybe somewhere along the line somebody repaired the oil leak but never bothered to degrease the tractor. I'm not really sure, but I don't see anything at all leaking. I mean, you would have seen like drop, you know, like a drop, like it was ready to drip. Nothing, there's nothing like that. It's dry all the way from nose to rear here, you know. The rear seal here behind the pulley, the fan belt pulley, that's really the main, the rear main seal, but it's actually the oil pump cover seal. That seems to all be dry. Axles, dry. I mean, I went crazy cleaning this. It was really sludged up bad, but I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary. But I don't know, I guess we'll drag the 67 out. I'll charge, well, the battery, I gotta find a battery on one of the other tractors to put on that. Yeah, so we ended up using one of the brush hogs that we got with the 61 Gravely here. We used that on the 1957 Gravely we just sold a few weeks ago. Yeah, I fixed it up, I painted it and everything and put it on the tractor. So, I mean, paying the $400 for everything that we got, to me, was worth it. So, okay, so another thing I'm noticing, you saw that we worked in the last video or so, we worked on the 65 Studebaker Packard Gravely here with the carburetor. We put the cast iron carburetor on it. Hey, it's got a float issue. The float's not adjusted right, but we got it to run and everything. We were able to do a test drive with it. And with that, we got the 1966 Gravely L8 here with it. We only tried it once with just to cut some grass, but I noticed one thing now, backing out all the tractors so we could get to the 67 L8. this has an oil leak. When we changed the oil, the drain plug was finger tight on that, but it had one of those plastic washers on it. So I put a crush washer on that, so there shouldn't be any problems with that. And like I was saying before, sometimes when you change the oil filter, it makes a mess, but I don't know. We're not going to bother worrying about that this year. Okay, so here's the 67 L8. I'm going to see if we can do something about the starter. I think I might have another starter for it. But we are going to steal the wheels off it with the chains on it. And over here we have the United States Postal Service Gravely here. So I'll have to back all this out. I'm going to bring the plow out. I'll just bring the other plow out. In the meantime, I want to see if I have an oil pressure gauge for the 65 Gravely L. That I put the air pressure gauge on it for now, just to make sure we had oil pressure. And there's some other wheels and tires here. I have to figure out how we're gonna do that. And I have this sulky here that I fixed up for the 57 Gravely, but I decided to just sell the tractor and keep the sulky here. This, I think it has a flat, I'm not sure. Alright, so let me get to moving some more tractors out and everything. Okay, so I found an oil pressure gauge for the 65 in the back there. I also took out the other snow plow and got it out towards the front here. This one here, you can use a 7/16 wrench. This is the oil pressure gauge that we used. I'm sorry, there's nothing exciting going on here today, but this is just stuff we have to get done. This is the gauge that belongs on there. It's in pretty good shape. The lens isn't cracked or anything like that. On this one, you can't use a wrench. I just take my big channel locks and just grab it by the edge here and just tighten it up a little bit. I don't go too crazy with them. You can even just do it by hand. That's pretty good there. It shouldn't leak or anything like that. Alright, so I took and I put the I'm sorry, I hate doing this way, but okay, so I took the plow mount off the 67 L8 here. I just put the plate on the front. I took the plow mount and I figure we'll use the 1973 Gravely. I put the plow mount on there. We'll use this as a backup and we'll use the 61 Gravely here as the primary and see how long it lasts. You know what? Because I don't know. I usually don't get any faith into these until I use them for a while. So we'll see how we make out with that. In the meantime, I took the battery out of the 66 Gravely. Hope I'm not confusing you because I'm confused. Anyway, I took the battery off the 66 Gravely L8 to use on here because I think the starter is really straining. So we're going to take a reading of how many bolts that the starter is drawing, and I didn't look for the other starter yet that I think I have. So I'll be back to you as soon as we get stuff situated here again. It's funny, this starter seems fine. Maybe I had a weak battery. It's not too bad. Alright, so it has some old gas in it. I'll turn the gas on and see if we can get it to start. I always choke everything when I put it away, so we don't get any any insects or anything like that in there. This doesn't have a governor, so we got to be careful with the throttle. I thought it had gas in it. If it has gas in it, it has a very little bit. Nah, it doesn't really have anything in it. I would really like to start it up and run it for a while though. Let me put some gas in there and see. Alright, it's not that cold out. It's cool out, but maybe in the winter when it was real cold out it was a problem. I don't remember. Well, I know it was sluggish trying to start. I forgot I didn't put any bungee cord or anything on the battery. Anyway, seems to be alright. I haven't ran this in about a year. Do we use it? You know, we used it last year in the winter. So it's a little less than a year since we ran this probably last February. What is it now? It's September now, almost the middle of September. So, alright, so the plan now is this. Where I take these tires with the chains off here, and we'll put it on here, put them on here, and then I have the dual wheel adapters. I take the adapters off because it makes more room inside. And then since we're using this as the primary, I'll put those inner tires with the chains on there, and then I'll put the homemade chains that I made a few years ago, and we'll put them on the outside. Well, I forgot what a pain in the ass these tires are with the homemade chains. What I had to do is I had to let the air out of the tires, these outer tires here, because these chains are thick. And then in here I had I had trouble. I tried to do it with air in the tire and I couldn't catch the bolts, so I let the air out of the tires. It was a little bit easier. I'm surprised these tires haven't blown out yet. I think I put the chains on about 3 years ago, maybe. And then I said to myself, well, with these aggressive chains on here, might blow the tire out, because the tires are dry rotted. I think I had these tires with the homemade chains on this setup here, and these chains are thinner, so I think I was able to just put the dual wheel adapter on there, and I was able to put the tire on there, I'm pretty sure. So I have this thing set up different than I did before, but I'm not going to do this one today. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll go over how I put the dual wheels on, the spacers and everything. It looks pretty cool with the hood and everything. So that's done. I don't know, with all the snow they're saying we're getting, we probably won't get any. I don't know. We'll see what happens, that's all. But I'll leave a link to Ryan Hall, you know, the weather guy, which seems to be pretty good, because I watch several every year. He seems to be the best, so I subscribe to him. I just put the notifications back on for him. I had it on none. But I only use them for winter storm stuff there. And I guess that's about it. This video wasn't even supposed to be about what we're doing today. We were supposed to find the oil leak on this, which it hasn't leaked any oil. It felt a little moist underneath, just a little bit towards the back. We'll see. Maybe after plowing, the oil leak will get worse. And then we'll be able to pinpoint what's going on with that. So. Looks like somebody's trailer brakes got locked up, so it dug up the gravel. So I'm just grading it off a little bit. I'm going to finish grading this off, and then we'll get on to the rest of the video here. Okay, so earlier in the video I dug out the primary snowplow and mount, and I usually paint the plows every 2 years. This way I use semi-gloss paint, usually yellow, either Rust-Oleum or John Deere paint. It makes the snow roll off a lot better, and the appearance of the tractor looks better too, for when I used to go out and plow. But mostly I paint them just because of the so the snow rolls off the plow better. It doesn't stick to the plow. Now last year, or maybe it was even 2 years ago now, my good friend Noel from Noels Garden Tractors and Firewood, he usually takes clear paint, and he paints all the chutes on the snow blowers and snow throwers, and I guess the auger and all that, so the snow, you know, like I said, rolls off a lot easier. So last year what I did was I took this primary plow here, and I washed it real good, cleaned it up, dried it real good, and I sprayed the clear coat paint on it, and it worked pretty good, because I could tell the difference, because we were going back and forth from two different tractors, and the snow was sticking on this plow here. As a matter of fact, this plow was on the 61 when we were just grading the gravel driveway here, where somebody's trailer brakes probably locked up, and they left big ruts in the parking lot here. So I'll along with Ryan Hall, I'll leave a link to Noels Garden Tractors and Firewood. Go check him out if you haven't already. He's a real good guy. I really enjoy watching him. He became a real good friend of mine too. So, okay, so what we're going to do now to close the video, I'm going to show you the easiest way that I put the spacers on, and even the these inboard wheels here, because the 3/8 bolts are really short on these, and they're pretty hard to catch with your fingers sometimes. But I'll show you the easy way that I do it. So let me get set up for that. We'll do that. We'll close this video out. Oh, by the way, before I forget to tell you, the 67 Gravelys that we took the inboard tires off of, that I used to use, or I will use it still for my primary snowplow tractor, I have a funny feeling. I was telling you this starter was really dragging on it. I have a funny feeling I must have changed the starter out last year on it, because it's cranking over a little too easy than what I was used to on it. Okay, so if you're doing it by hand, make sure you loosen all the wheel mounting bolts before you jack it up. I did that already, but I'm going to use the air ratchet to hurry things up. Okay, so what I usually do, I take a 1/4-inch drive socket driver, and I have a 9/16 shallow socket on here. Now, if you use if you don't have a shallow socket and you're using a deep socket, you can take some 3/8 nuts, because these are 3/8 bolts. That's why you're using a 3/8 socket. You can take some 3/8 nuts and take up the space in here. So when you put this short bolt in here, it doesn't cover all the threads. And I found that the 1/4-inch drive is easier to work with. That's why I use it. And it helps a lot trying to get the bolts started, you know. I just want to let you know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spacers on. The wheels that I took off the 61, which were the inboard tires, it was the only tires on the tractor, I might clean up the rims and paint them. So I'm going to put the spacers on here, and I'm not going to put the outboard tires on there. This way I can make more room inside the storage here, and I'll pop the plow off it too. and I'll just keep the plow off to the side. And so far the primary tractor, the 61, I didn't see any oil leaks this morning. This is a couple of days later. I didn't see any oil leaks, and it seemed to run pretty good when we were grading the parking lot off. So. Okay, so here's the tire valve, and then the spacer here. There'll be a notch in here. There's like a notch. That's where you put the bolt through the rim here. And that notch makes the valve clear of the spacer. It's a little tough sometimes to catch the bolt in there. You just take your thumb like this. Sometimes when the rim's not on there good, you always want to make sure that the rim is seated on there the best you could, and that the hole going through the rim into the hub. Sometimes you could take a Phillips head screwdriver and just wiggle it around in there, and then just catch a bolt in there before you put the spacer on for alignment purposes. Then of course take the bolt out, and then you can stick your spacer on there. I noticed some new subscribers own Gravelys, and I've done this before on camera, so in case the newcomers haven't seen how to do it, that's why I'm just showing you again here today. I'll put the spacer on off, the other side I'll put on off camera. What I should have did first before I put the spacer, which is no big deal, is check the air in the tires here. It's no big deal, I can still check them when I get this thing on here. If you don't have air tools and you're doing it by hand, put the spacer on as tight as you could, let the tractor down, make sure the bolts are all tight, then jack it up and then put the outboards on. Some years when I was doing a lot of plowing, you could go over these bolts with the outboard tires on and just use a 9/16 box wrench. That's about it. And then what you would do is just take your outer rim here. So these short bolts that we took out of the inboard tires here, that's what you're going to use to hold the the wheel on the outboard. And then that's when this really comes in handy here, to use the 1/4-inch shallow 9/16 socket for that. I'm not going to put them on, like I said. I'm going to leave them off. When it gets closer to winter and we start getting, and I have everything situated in there for the winter, I'll just put everything on. I'll put the plow on, I'll put the outboard tires on it, and leave it in front of the 61 primary tractor we will be using. I think that's about it for today in this video here. Like I said, we did everything that we weren't supposed to do. We were supposed to find the oil leak on the 61 and repair it, but I don't see anything. And like I said, just this morning, it was dry in there. The tractor runs really well, but I still don't trust it yet, because we just bought the tractor for one thing, and we did the head gasket on it and got it running good. That's why I want to have two of them, since, you know, they said it was going to be a bad winter this year. But I think I've heard that before. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all on the next one. And thanks for watching. Take care. Okay, so we got rid of the rusty white rims. I sanded the rims all down. I was going to mask the tires off. I've done it before. It's okay to paint the tires black. It holds up good. Also coming up, the 1965 Studebaker Packard Gravely. We're going to pull the carburetor off that and take the carburetor apart and adjust the float on that. That's it. Take care.